in this particular chart, we have S4L56 substitution. To look at this chart in a certain way, this is an S3L. Okay, here it is. There's an S3L. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. And then there's another S3L on top, but it's shifted to the left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, R2. What happened? What happened there? Well, this one shifts to the left too. Okay, so there's no problem there. All right, because this is actually incorrect. This S3L shift label isn't as significant as the other the S3L substitution here, which is very small, but I'll show you right here where you have the S3L top shift here. But this is the shift to the right. Okay, so this particular substitution, it's a 5/6 substitution, right? So remember the S3L is got a 5/6 in the middle of it, okay, and we could substitute the whole S3XL into that because it's got 5/6s there. So we can just substitute these 5/6s into this 5/6 right here. But that gives us a shift in our S3L. So it's not regular. It's not exactly the regular shape. The shift in the S3L here is the normal shift of the S3L. So this is just like a mental way of looking at it. Okay, instead of looking at this, there's an S2L. Okay, that's fair. That's fair enough. And here's an S3L. That's fair enough. You see, it's striped. Okay, it's like a sandwich there, right? But you can look at this as the S4L here, and the 5/6 as an entire substitution. So once again, we've got a 5/6 substitution there. That's what this is, and I covered that in the previous lesson. So we don't want to spend too much time on that, except that the substitutions aren't exactly the same. This one is more of a way of looking at it. This is a physical substitution of this pattern into the pattern, into this pattern, okay, to make it be able to be played on the fret nut. So we have the piano up here, and what it is so when we look at the modes, all right, we want to play maybe instead of just the scale that goes up, so Phrygian mode would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, R2, 3. We want to start looking at chords, which would be 3, 5, and 7, which would be an E minor, right? It's part of the Phrygian scale. Now, once you can play the scale, you can play the chords. The thing is, with guitar, people usually learn the chords first. And the easy part is that if we're just using tritones, triads, we don't have to worry all that much about getting the mode right. We all know how to play an E minor, right? You should know how to play an E minor. All right, A minor, and then the D minor, and then the C. I can't play one that well without my capo. Capo, where are you? Capo, should name my dog Capo. Alright, so the C would be the G, the fifth. Okay, so we got the first. Alright, that's R, 3, 5. But it's usually in second inversion, so it's usually going to be 5, R, 3. Where is that? Okay, so we want to get down here now. Now we're kind of graduating to this part of the chart here. the, what was I playing? The C. The C would be over here. Here's the root. Alright, and this, if this is the fret nut of your normal guitar, I've got a capo on it. Alright, then the C, the root 3/5 would be here in the C shape. See, I can play it without fingering it. I just play the C chord and do the strings. Now C is the only one you can do like all three inversions on one chord. You know, it's like Happy Days Are Here Again. Alright, that might be, sometimes my little frets, my little inlays start to get in the way of my strings because I don't do maintenance on them. This is an old design. Actually, I replaced it with the other one. And the other guitar, I decided to go with a different design, which has made it into an A-flat instrument. Doesn't make any sense. So we've got, we want to play the chords now. All right, so we're going to like look for tritones that we can play. So what is the most characteristic chord of this C thing? Well, C has all three chords, right? But when you get to things like an E, you know, it's pretty much usually what people consider the E is going to be, oh, let's go back down here a second. What we consider an E. Alright, so let's say now this fret nut is your E. The same, where the capo is where this fret nut is. Okay, the E would be the root now, if we're in the key of E. So it would be 5 root 3. That is first inversion. Okay, so the 5 would be the A. Okay, now we're in the key of E. These numbers don't particularly apply at this time. Okay, so I can erase these numbers like this. I can just go and do something like this. This is what I usually do when I want to erase numbers on a keyboard. There. And then of course you have to kind of line it all up at the end so that they line up like that. And earphone view is fun because it kind of makes the image kind of rubbery. You know, that doesn't seem to be, this is funky, but it's not working. So let's do it in C. Alright, in the key of C. So the E shape in the key of C is going to be the 4th. Alright, so you got, it's going to be up here. Let's see. Look, I'll do it in the key of C. I got to remove the capo. So we have, let's see, we got, alright, so for the key of C, here with the capo on, sorry about that, actually up here is the E shape. Alright, up here is the E shape, and that would be root 5 root 3, so it's going to be first inversion here, 5 root 3. We usually associate the first inversion with the E shape when you play the E shape up here. You know, for your guitar it would be pretty much the same place where you put your hand, but that would be the E shape. That would be the E note, E-shaped E chord. In my case it's E-shaped C chord. So what is that? So what are we talking about modes here? We want to then move on to the Dorian mode. Okay, so that's the root mode. Alright, that's the Ionian. Then we move on to the Dorian, which is the 2nd, the 4th, and the 6th in the key of C, right? In the keyboard. That's pretty much